Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannon's Insurance, Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, and Pace Farm Eggs. Hello and welcome to the Northern Territory, this Alice Springs episode of Classic Restos. But before I go any further, here's some information from the people that help to make Classic Restos happen each and every week. It's thanks to Shannon's. Ask about multi-policy discounts and sign up for the Shannon's Club. Call 134646 for a quote and see more at shannons.com.au. For oils, coolants, additives and technical assistance, Oil Right, use Penrite. And Hare and Forbes has the range. Buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. You know, there's just something about the outback of Central Australia. And when I say central, it means exactly that.
I guess you could say it has a feel all of its own.
You know, I love coming out here. I could stay here for months. The region and its people, well, I think they deserve some recognition on Classic Restos. Where do you begin? Alice Springs is the third largest town in the Northern Territory, the geographic centre of Australia. Alice Springs has a population of just over 28,500 people, making up just over 12% of the territory's population. Alice Springs can technically be a long way from any direction, equal distance from Adelaide and Darwin. The town is laced by the usually dry Todd River, in this case the Todd Sandpit. The surrounding region is known as Central Australia, and of course the Red Centre, a harsh and arid environment consisting of several different deserts. In Alice Springs, temperatures can vary dramatically. It's either hot enough to melt your tyres or cold enough to freeze your fuel. But in the serious department, the average maximum temperature in summer is around 35 degrees, and the Alice can get as low as 5 degrees in winter. Alice Springs is surrounded by a geographical backdrop that for first-timers here will stun you. The colours, the rock formations and roads that are dead flat and are as straight as a die for hours. Regions like this is home to many legends. These are the people, past and present, that have helped build and develop places such as Alice Springs. From the land's Indigenous people through to motoring people, the stories are endless. So now it's time to meet an 88-year-old gentleman that never gives up. He owns a sheet metal business in town. His name is Wally Spears.
I'm Wally Spears. I'm 88 years of age and I'm still buggering around with cars.
See, places like Alice Springs are full of iconic people and legends, and boy, we have one here. Now, Wally, okay, where do we start with you? How long have you lived here in the Alice?
Ever since 1936.
So you're local then?
They reckon I am, but I don't know if I am or not.
You've got a whole row of cars here that you've decided to pull out just to have a brief look at today. Now, these vehicles go back a way with you. Again, where do we start with you? The truck, for example. Now, that goes back a long way with you, doesn't it?
I'd been here before, worked for a bloke out at the station, Jim Borland. I left and I went home, got married, and he used to keep in touch with me. He said he bought a new truck, got me to go over to Adelaide and pick it up and take it back to Melbourne and get a semi-trailer and mob of stuff so he could build a cattle crate, and he was coming down to get it. And then to finish, he kept saying, "Are you going to bring it up?" And my wife said, "No, I'm not leaving." So she decided to come for 12 months. When I got here, Mum was a bit sick. It was Christmas time, hottest time in the joint. So we went out in the ute, left the truck here, And we come back and picked it up and went out there. And on the way in, he said, I bought the truck for you. It's yours.
And it's a 1956 model, right?
Yeah.
You've done a wonderful job restoring it, Wally.
Yeah, it took me a while. It was down the back. A lot of people didn't even know it was here.
Wally, what's the story of the E.J. Holden behind us? Where does that go back with you? What can you tell us about that car?
Down at Cape Jervis, helping this bloke out to build this boat trailer for this bloke. And my wages come to $1,000. And he said, do you want the car? And I looked at it and thought about it. I thought, Jesus, it's cheap. So he was driving it about. So I said, yeah, that'll do. So I finished up with the car, Fletch.
Nice original example there, Wally. It's had a few knocks though, but it's still all there in its entirety, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got a bad dent in the back, left-hand back mud guard and that, but it's, a lot of people can't see it. It's been pushed out and that, and I'm getting a new panel to put in it.
Burgundy red, 1939 straight 8 Buick. Wally, this is really something.
I know a pretty fair bit about this motor car. Jim Wilkerson got married at Colgra, and his father gave him this car to cart groceries to Colgra store what he'd just built. He'd just opened it, nobody else there one time. So he used to cart the stores with it, and he sold it to Charlie Hoskins, as we knew him better as Charlie Like. And he had it for years, and the starter motor used to be on the pedal, and he used to muck about with the light in the roof and start it, and people used to say, oh, is that where the starter motor is?
How did that work? Did he wire it up to the light?
No, he didn't. He used to push the accelerator in, and that's where the starter motor was hooked up to, and it started, but people reckon he was doing it with the light.
So he was a bit of a jokester.
Oh, yeah. He was the best. Ted Egan wrote a song about it being the best drinker in the Northern Territory.
That's a big call.
Yeah.
Wally, I love the car in its entirety as well as the EJ. We're talking complete original vehicles here. The interior is just beautiful. I mean, it's got that Art Deco look about it. That's just gorgeous.
Yeah, I got the new hood lining from America for it, and the floor was rusted away, the doors was half rusted away, the back mud guards is made out of 2.
All of this work you carried out yourself?
Yeah.
I tell you what, this is the skill, and might I say I'm just loving today's episode, or this week's episode of Classic Restos, catching up with a guy like Wally. Well, I hope you're really enjoying this week's episode of Classic Restos, based here in Alice Springs, Northern Territory, Central Australia. Back with more classics right after this.
Every weekend around Australia, motoring enthusiasts get together to share their passion for cars and bikes. It's a passion that brings us together. All sorts of people, all sorts of cars and bikes, from the classics of today to the classics of tomorrow. At Shannon's, we understand enthusiasts, so when it comes to insurance, it's got to be Shannon's. Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
Penrite, Australian-made, family-owned and operated. Make premium quality engine and racing oils, warranty-approved coolants, automatic transmission and manual gear oils, a complete range of engine and fuel additives, heavy-duty and industrial products for every application. Visit penriteoil.com for more information. Penrite, Australian-made for Australian conditions since 1926.
If you need a new piece of equipment for your workshop, you need Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Hare and Forbes Machinery House have showrooms around Australia and New Zealand that will have you browsing for hours. See the largest range of industrial and workshop DIY tools. You will be greeted by friendly, helpful staff, and you can buy from anywhere online at machineryhouse.com.au. Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Find your closest store at machineryhouse.com.au. Now, Wally, you've gone to a lot of trouble today. You heard that I was in town. You've pulled all the cars out. Got a nice Holden here behind us. Now, this is your grandson's car. Is that correct?
Yeah, he bought it out of Melbourne, and it wasn't too good when he got it up here. Not a bloke went and seen it. One of his mates said it was a good buy. When it got here, it wasn't as good as it looked good, but the motor wasn't real good. He's pulled it all out and really done it up to standard.
When you started driving a long time ago, vehicles weren't that powerful, but they still did the job. How has it been for you through the decades to see vehicles evolve and the power that they make, the horsepower they're doing now? Does that surprise you and amaze you a little bit?
Yeah, but when we first started carting up here, the roads, if you had a big truck, you couldn't do any more than about 30 k's an hour, 40, and they used to make rivers out of them. Every time they graded them, they just pushed the dirt to the side and built a river out of them. And when we got a big wet, you couldn't go anywhere, and you could have a sleep going along because the windrows was that high you couldn't get out, and it was only wide enough for a truck.
The dirt road, the corrugations must have been shocking.
Because you didn't notice the corrugation so much because you was going that bloody slow. When I used to first started with the Austin, it used to take me 24 hours to do a return trip, and the last trip I done with a Mercedes I had was 4.5 hours to do the same trip.
20 hours difference.
Yeah, so that was unreal.
It's just amazing stuff, isn't it? Man, how legendary is this? And speaking of something else legendary, we've got this old Ford on the end here. Now, what's the story with that, Wally?
Just after the war, we had the job of dozing this property, all the fruit trees out and clean it. And there was an old shed and this was in it. And my mate always carried a few bob with him. And he seen something old. He used to always try and buy it. And he bought it and put it in a shed down in Victoria. And one morning he got up to go to work, had a heart attack and dropped dead at 50. And his wife had her breasts off, and we were great mates, and she used to come up and she said, "Do you want the car, T model?" I said, "At the moment I haven't got enough money to buy." She said, "You can have it."
You know, the thing is, I could live to 1,000 years of age and continually do a TV show catching up with people. Wally's just one. I mean, I know that they're everywhere you go out in the bush, blokes like this. I just can't believe the opportunity I've had to catch up with you, Wally. Like I said, I could talk to you forever. I want to thank you so much for being on today's episode and sharing just a hairline of the stuff that you've done over the years, and I hope I get to see you again soon. Thanks for being on today's show. Have you got anything to say before we wrap it up?
Thank you very much. It's been really good for somebody to come along and interview me, because I don't know him that well, but I've heard a lot about him and I really enjoyed it.
Well, that's good. I hope what you've heard about me has been good.
Yeah. A word goes around on the grapevine here who's coming and who's not.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we're a bit lucky.
All right. Good on you, Wally. Thanks, mate. And so we move on from Wally Spears. Wasn't he just absolutely awesome? To this guy here on the top of Anzac Hill here in Alice Springs. We've got Greg. How you doing, Greg?
Yeah, good, thanks, Fletch. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. Thanks for bringing this beautiful 1966 XP along. When we talk of clever, this is the department that you're from.
Yes, I've done a fair bit of fabrication work on this XP Fairmont.
When you think of an XP Falcon, you might think of Leonard Teal getting out of it, you know, with the with Homicide. We've got a car here that's been transformed, not overdone, but it's perfect in every way. It's a concourse car. It's got a gorgeous paint job. It's got some billet work done. It's got some pretty clever modifications. Now, let's just start first of all with paint colour. What have we got there, Greg?
It's off a BA 2002 Falcon. It's called Phantom.
It's popping here in the sun. It's absolutely beautiful.
Well, thanks, Fletch.
Now, modifications in terms of mechanical. Now, we're not looking at a 170 Pursuit here. Tell us what you've done, engine and driveline.
We've sort of stretched that capacity, Fletch, just a little bit. It's boasting a Toyota Lexus 4-litre quad cam 32 valve. And just to enhance a little bit more, we decided to put a supercharger on it.
Yeah, a bit of a hairdryer on top. Get the air through a bit quicker, right?
Yeah, just a little bit more efficiently.
Automatic transmission. What's going on there?
It's got a standard Asian Warner A340 in it. The engine management system not only drives the engine too as well, it also drives the automatic transmission. Right. It's quite cleverly set up. It also runs a petition. We've actually got a power and economy mode too as well. So when you're cruising around town, you can have shorter shifts, softer shifts, so she's a lot more comfortable to drive. And of course, when you want to get up it a little bit and you sort of enjoy the performance side of things, we flick it into the power mode and away we go.
Wow. A petition. You think of a wall with different doors and you open it up and go into different departments.
That's exactly right.
Which then takes us through to the diff. Now, what are you running there and your rear ratio?
Okay, the rear ratio, well, it's a Borg Warner to start with. It's a combination Commodore. I'm running a Wattslink Ford hat on the back of it. 7-link rear end, and ratio is 3.7:1. Aftermarket CAS limited slip diff.
Okay, now let's look more into the modifications here. Now, suspension, geometry, the front end. Now, this is interesting. Greg told me a little bit of this before we started filming. Now, what have you done there?
Well, I wanted an old vehicle that had a lot of the latest technology, so I've actually grafted Commodore VP 1992, McPherson strut, rack and pinion, K-frame, the whole lot. So all the undercarriage is based on a Commodore.
Now, last but not least, the interior of this car. It just screams, let me in there. Now, how did you come up with the shape of the seats? What have you done there, Greg?
We've actually turned it from a 5-seater into a 4-seater, and the rear bench seat has been regrafted into a bench bucket, and also the two rear passengers are a lot closer together, and that reduces car sickness too as well, because they get a better visual on the oncoming traffic.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the bolstering in the seats in terms of the comfort. I mean, there'd be no sliding around.
oh, definitely not. No, it's like getting a big cuddle from your mum.
How nice is that? And the little chrome embellishments too that you've put in there. That's clever.
That was the idea of the upholsterer, Brent in Glenorrey. He's absolutely brilliant. So yeah, he worked hand in hand with me along the way as we developed the old girl. So.
Greg, what an absolute pleasure, eh? Coming here to the centre of Australia and catching up with a bloke like Greg. Absolutely love the XP, mate, in every way.
Yep.
And what a setting here. Now, before we leave here today, you might want to tell us, you're from Sydney, and how long have you been in Alice Springs?
I've been here for just over a year, Fletch. Yeah, just love it. Kept coming here for about 7 years. Yeah. And every time I went back to New South Wales, I thought something was wrong. So I had to come here to live.
I've got to say, it's my 3rd or 4th time out here. It has got a feel about it out here.
It does.
It really does, doesn't it? It's the rock formations around Alice Springs, the colours. It's just amazing.
It is. It's absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
Good on you, buddy.
Good on you, Fletch.
Take care.
Good to see you again, mate.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hey, feel like travelling to the United States of America? Well, then why not consider a Fletch tour? Have a look at this. There is nothing quite like a Fletch tour. Carlisle or Ford Nationals, GM Nationals and Chrysler Nationals await you.
Book a Fletch tour. It's amazing.
Seen some absolutely amazing cars.
What an event.
Experience Route 66 from Chicago to Vegas, or choose the Detroit tour.
I would make it a point to go to Fletch Tours and come to Detroit.
There are 5 Fletch Tours. Select the one that suits you best. See FletchTours.com or contact All Things Travel, Lara.
In 1926, Australia's Penrite Oil Company was established. Almost 90 years of research, development and refining under the harsh Australian conditions has made Penrite Oil what it is today. Precision, performance, reliability and protection. Championship winning products. Trust Penrite.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannon's,
We've also got Shannon's Home and Contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be.
Shannon's.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
If you need a new piece of equipment for your workshop, you need Hare and Forbes Machinery House. From a garage jack through to a lathe, Hare and Forbes has the range. And Hare and Forbes Machinery House are Australian owned, established since 1930. You will be greeted by friendly, helpful staff, and you can buy from anywhere online at machineryhouse.com.au. Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Find your closest store at machineryhouse.com.au. Moving through as we do here in Alice Springs, it's time for Jeff on today's show. How you doing, mate?
Good, thanks. Fletch, how are you?
Good, mate, good. 1968, a HK Ute unfinished project, a rat rod, so to speak. Wow, where are you going with this?
Wherever me silly mind takes me.
Well, look, there's nothing wrong with being a little bit silly. I mean, you've even dressed up today. You've got a good shirt on to see Fletch. I mean, he's gone all out. This is what he's done. Now, with the unfinished project, there's no limit to how far you can go. It's an extension of your own persona, your own imagination, isn't it?
Yep, very much so. And I like doing different things with cars.
Yep.
So.
Now, Jeff, you've got a panel shop, right?
Yeah, I got a custom shop that I do restorations or customise and do silly things like this thing.
Yeah. How long have you been going with that in the Alice?
5 years now in Alice, so yeah.
Good on you, mate. Back at the workshop, there's a nice blue XC Ute there as well.
Yeah, that's a customer's car, an 18-year-old's first car, so a very sport young man, but very nice car too.
Got some nice lines, the XC and a Ute, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and that one I've pushed the limits a little bit in certain areas, but thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's right, Jeff. There's no law as to what we should do with our classic cars. I mean, some people keep them patina, give them a coat of clear and leave them how they found them. You've got the people that go back to the rolling shell restos and do a ground-up resto. And then you've got what you're doing here. I can't help but notice it sticks out. What, your fuel tank, is it the beer keg in back? Is that where your juice is?
Yeah, that's one side's New South Wales, the other side's Queensland. So yeah, bit of fun, bit of stirring.
I don't even know if that'd get registered in New South Wales. I don't know if we'd be allowed to do that. Maybe we would.
Well, you should be able to. Like, it's no different. It's actually probably mounted better than an original fuel tank. So
Mate, held on by a couple of con rods and some pistons there. That's pretty creative in the bracketry system.
Yeah, one of those things. You're limited to your imagination. So, and I have a pretty wild imagination. So yeah,
too true. Now we look out back there. The two pipes out there. That's neat. Two side by side, in the back, lower beaver panel. Beautiful.
Yep, I deleted the original fuel tank, so I brought the exhaust up through the floor and deleted the spare wheel well area, and so I figured, I'll put the pipes through there, something nice and different and clean lines.
350 up front. What have you done there?
Yep, it's we started with 4 Chevs, and we ended up with a block and a set of rocker covers, scat rods, scat crank, forged pistons, full alloy, roller top end. So should hopefully be producing around 500 horsepower.
Mate, the steely wheels always go down well with me. You've been game enough to paint them orange as well, just to make it even a little bit more quirky.
Yeah, I still run I run a 9-inch in the back, so I kept the forward pattern, and these are a multi-fit, so they're kind of an easy way to do it, and they're a smoothie. But yeah, I like the old school style of them, because originally I was going to put standard rims with a chrome dress rim and that on it, but I found these, so yeah.
Now with the bumper bars, what happened there, Jeff? Did you get confused? Is it like I'll chrome it, but I won't? I'll go back to the metal and coat it clear. What did you get? What did you do there?
Well, the chrome wasn't too good on it, and I thought about sending off re-chroming it, but I went, well, seeing as though it's my kind of rat rod, how about I patina them? And so I sanded through a lot of the chrome and brought out the different layers, polished it all, then clear coated them. So yeah, just for something different. I like different.
Awesome stuff, mate. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for being on today's show. Really appreciate it. You've left your panel shop to come out here up on top of the hill here, and wow, I mean, what a location, eh?
Yeah, Alice is pretty cool. Yeah. I've been here 8 years and I love it.
You guys are pretty lucky living here, I think.
Yeah, I think I am. So no, it is a great little town.
Good on you, Jeff. Well, take care, mate.
No worries. Thank you very much, Fletch.
Out here in the bush. Well done.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you've really enjoyed this week's episode of Classic Restos, an Alice Springs, Northern Territory, Australia exclusive. We've seen some amazing individuals, some incredible landscapes. So, until next week, no matter where you're watching from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching. And the flies. You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, and Pace Farm Eggs.